everybody. Welcome to our second attempt of live streaming BC Kid. Our first one, I had to reset my computer because the controls weren't working. It appears now that the controls still continue to not work. Awesome.
At least it's consistent.
I think this has got to be set like that. Okay.
Hey!
We're in.
Fifth time's a charm, Boat.
Yeah. Now, what I am going to do, because I want to be that guy, is I'm going to remap jump.
Oh, see, now you're not playing it. It's now. I will say you actually can play it like this. If you have a look, our buddy that makes the compilations has a compilation of Factor 5 games on the Amiga, and he included this game on there with 2-button support.
Ooh.
So if you have an actual Amiga and you have a CD32 stick or maybe one of the Genesis sticks, you could play this with 2-button support. So you're technically...
Oh, shoot. I've already messed it up.
Wow.
Okay, here we go again. Left, right, up, down, fire, who cares? Okay. Now we're in business. So, I actually like this quite a bit.
Yeah, this is a pretty neat one. It's very cute.
I was never able to master on the Amiga version timing my jumps so I could do that every single time. It's interesting that the fruit system, it's different amounts of health up, you know, depending on the fruit.
The documentation I managed to find on this game, it didn't go into that sort of detail. I mean, it was like paraphrase. I didn't find actual official docs.
That thing always.
Those things suck.
I hate that.
Yeah. I'm surprised that you can get away from it.
Yeah.
You know what this happy faces do?
Isn't it some kind of end of the round bonus?
That's right. That's correct.
Crank up our volume here a little bit. Maybe crank down the game audio. So, what did you think of the soundtrack?
It's funny that probably fidelity-wise and the Amiga soundtrack sounds better, but I find myself enjoying the TurboGrafx soundtrack more. And I may be the only one.
See, I think that the TurboGrafx, not only does it look better, not only is the game just a better game, but the soundtrack on the TurboGrafx, I think it's different music.
It's completely different, yeah. I gotta fully disagree with you on that, but I think the music, and this music's not bad. Don't get me wrong. It's just I personally, and it's not even because I grew up playing it or whatever. I didn't, but in fact I played on the Amiga before I played the TurboGrafx version, 20 degree. But I like the music on the Amiga better. I like the.
Yeah.
My son's a big fan of this game too. By the way, he played it. That's where I got the idea to do it for the show. Me and him were sitting there playing. I was like, man, it's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad that you did, because I had not played much BC Kid or Bonk prior to this. Oh. I find that in this game you're rewarded for speed. You know, if you just kind of make your way through and don't dawdle, good things usually happen. Blindly
like
jumping,
diving.
Yeah, head diving into the lava.
Nope. Bonk has a lot of personality. You know, it's very Japanese game for starters. And, you know, you can tell. I mean, like when Bonk's gnawing on the ledge, little veins are popping in his head. You know, the fact that you're using a headbutt as your main weapon, it's very clever.
Yeah.
The enemies are cute. I mean, it's very cute. The Amiga equivalent would be something like Chuck Rock. If you remember Chuck Rock, if you played that one.
I don't don't think I have.
It's a caveman game where you're a guy, your hot wife gets taken and you have to go get her. And Chuck's basically in a loincloth and he's got a club. And Chuck Rock's got some personality too, don't get me wrong, but I mean, in terms of gameplay, and Chuck Rock was on everything else. It was on Super Nintendo and everything. But in terms of gameplay, you know, or the platforming element, it's nowhere near as good as this. I love that, by the way.
You know, it's funny, on the latest Sprite Castle episode, Flack was talking about how there was sort of a caveman resurgence in popular culture, you know, in the 80s. Do you have any recollection of that? The caveman, you know?
Well, there was Encino Man.
Well, that was 90s. But what about?
By the way, real quick, look in these. See the backgrounds right here. Take a note of that.
Okay.
All right, carry on. Caveman Resurgence.
Like Quest for Fire, that movie.
Oh yes, I recall that.
Which I didn't realize was the spoof for BC's Quest for Tires. I didn't.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't realize that either.
Yeah.
I liked BC's Quest for Tires quite a bit, actually. I'm like the biggest fan of that game.
You should listen to this week's episode of Sprite Castle.
Oh, does he do that one?
Yeah, he does it this week.
I'm not surprised. Rob was a lot like me.
There's wasn't there a the Ringo Starr Caveman movie?
That was great. That's
Is it actually any good?
Are you kidding me? First of all, Ringo Starr, duh.
I know he's your favorite Beatle.
Oh yeah, and also he's got one of the all-time great bits in it where they learn they actually invent music. I'm sure I've talked to you about this.
No.
They're all sitting at this campfire, and this guy's pounding his club or something on a rock. Dunk, dunk, and then they start just slowly joining in. But the best bits where there's a guy sitting beside this other guy, and as the beat's starting to go, he grabs the guy's hand and sticks it over the fire, and the guy goes, "Wow, wow!" and he keeps the net. That's awesome. It's one of my all-time favorite scenes in any movie because I'm that lame. This, by the way, I hate this level.
You know what this reminds me of is the underwater level in the NES Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game.
Oh, it's not that bad.
But it's pretty bad.
And that one area you can't get through, and I've tried a million times, so you end up having to go through the, I guess, intestines or whatever that is. Also, this element of the game is strange.
Yeah, it's odd.
That reappears a couple times. It's like, why is there... Now, I found this much more difficult on the actual TurboGrafx than on the Amiga. It could just be my technique, but I had much more trouble with this guy. I like the fact that there's bubbles coming out. Another classic Japanese thing.
Yeah.
I've seen some... Never understood that. Because this guy's got problems. So, you're making short work of this. You better be careful. You're almost dead. There you go. Nice work. You blew through those. Now look at the sky.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look in your backgrounds. I mean, look at the.
Okay, so it's a multicolored.
Also, look at Bonk. Just the character Bonk.
Okay, I'm looking at him.
Okay, now when you see the TurboGrafx version of this.
By the way, in the TurboGrafx version, he says something totally different at this part of the game.
Yeah, I beat him on the TurboGrafx last night. Bonk is from my understanding, doing the research for this episode. Bonk on the Amiga, since you got to think this came out several years after the original Bonk came out on the TurboGrafx. Okay, so they used the sequel's Bonk model for this Bonk. That's why he's a little more detailed, a little more properly shaded. You know what I'm saying? You'll notice it when you see the other one. If you also look at the backgrounds here, see how there's beautiful sky, where it's sun, see how how nice that is. You're not going to see that on the TurboGrafx version of this, and you'll notice that when you see it. There are several. The details have changed.
These guys.
Oh yeah, these guys stink. The can't see dinosaurs.
Oh, and that thing. All right, but we get to continue. Luckily, I beat that first boss.
Now see on the
jump on there.
On the TurboGrafx version, guy just sort of lays there until you actually do something, until you hit the start button.
Right. Now, what I think is interesting is that your headbutt is more powerful if you jump up and attack, but of course that's more difficult to do that.
It's kind of hard to aim.
Yeah.
Shoot. Come here, dummy. No, I believe there's a bad guy in that one.
Yeah, you don't want the middle one. Just move on.
Watch my brains.
It's weird because it's almost like the Amiga, as far as the music on the Amiga, it was really good at certain kinds of sounds, but it can't, like, I don't know why they, you know, like, why the TurboGrafx music just sounds so much better.
Well, I just think it's tune selection in this case. I mean, the TurboGrafx cannot produce the kind of music that the Amiga does.
There's no way it can.
Or graphics. I mean, it's, you know... If you, and by the way, I heard you talking about what chip was in this last night. This is a custom chip that was not in anything else.
I'm talking about the TurboGrafx.
That's what I'm talking about. Remember you said you didn't know it was a 6803 or whatever processor. You're talking about
the TurboGrafx or the Amiga?
Yeah, TurboGrafx. Okay. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
You mentioned it last night on your show.
Yeah, yeah.
I looked it up while I was listening. It's the reason it's not known is because it's not a processor that exists. I mean, it was pretty much made for the...
It was custom made for the...
Yeah. Come here, you little punk. Those stupid things. Here, get out of here. These cactus guys, too, are a pain.
Yeah.
Now, some of these have secret entrances. I can't remember which ones.
And remember, your button is... up in this instance, so I don't know how that works.
Oh, that's probably what the problem is. Yeah, you're right. Let's just not bother with those. This level's tricky.
Yeah, there's tricky. a lot of stuff going on at once when you get in these little alcoves.
Turn around, you dummy.
Oh! Right into the cactus.
He's gonna fill
they are pretty generous with the old life bar in this game.
Yeah, but once it's over, you're done.
Now, I did manage to get almost to the end of this second sort of zone. But I was not able to complete it.
These are some of the more annoying bad guys I can remember.
Yeah, they really...
and they don't stop.
Yeah.
Get me out of here.
Good work.
Thank you. It wasn't that good, was it?
One thing I like about...
Jeez.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate.
That's the end. All right, so that was BC Kid on the Amiga. Now we're going to switch it up a little bit. Get out of here. And we are going to play on this thing. Here it is, Bonk's Adventure on the TurboGrafx 16. We have a real TurboGrafx 16 that belongs to Aaron with us.
And the game is hot off the presses.
Yeah,
just picked it up yesterday.
Just purchased this game. And let's see.
And just rigged up the interface for Boat's computer last night.
Oh yeah, since I had to restart my computer, I've got to redo all this stuff. So let's take that off.
Good thing you're a master of this program. You should see me lumber around with it. It's horrible.
And this is how we have to do this stuff behind the scenes. Okay. And yep. All right. So this is coming through our capture device. just move this over here. So to me, this looks better.
It does, doesn't it? Now look at the backgrounds, how simple they are.
Well, but it looks like
Amiga.
a real sky instead of your Shadow of the Beast pastel nonsense. So if that's what you want, I guess it looks better. The sprites are smaller, which means you get better animation. There's that big moon that descends.
That moon is no good. I've never liked that.
The enemies are all multicolored. In the Amiga version, they're single-colored sprites. Your little dudes down here are multicolored. There's no question about it. This is a better looking version.
I don't agree.
Well, I can't argue with that. You're right.
Look at Bonk, just himself.
He looks great.
He doesn't look anything like he does in the other one.
Yeah, he looks good. The enemies all just have so much more color. They make that little round thing that I don't understand when you defeat them in this.
The one thing that, I mean, first of all, I love the TurboGrafx. I'm not gonna say. First of all,
you hate the TurboGrafx and everything stands for.
No, that's not true. I own the TurboGrafx. There's nothing wrong with this at all. It's a fun game, but they had a couple years to perfect the Amiga version graphically. The Amiga has more power, and the Amiga version, that while they omitted the parallax moon, I never understood that. That moon's goofy.
Weird, yeah.
The funny thing about it is, it'll show up. You'll forget it's there, and it just sort of will hone in the view. And I'm always like, "What the hell's that?"
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, it's a damn weird looking moon." That's what I was never understood that.
So
but the music, I mean, listen to this music for a second. Okay, it's simple music. It's not nearly as complex as the Amiga version, but it's a catchy tune. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the thing, and
I mean, the Amiga maybe
the Amiga version is way more detailed. I mean, it's a better piece.
I think that you're blinded by your love.
No,
for the
but
Amiga.
you listen to me. I like the music better here because it just seems to work, and I don't know why. I can't say that. I can't. So musically, I mean, yeah, this thing can't pump out the kind of music that the Amiga can, but in this particular instance, I like the way it sounds. I mean, the little tunes are good. Mm. They're all completely different on the Amiga. There's no carryover.
See, like his teeth are more individual there. They look like jagged razors. On the first one, he actually has individual teeth in this game.
How do you feel about the controls?
Oh,
now that you play,
it controls so much better on the TurboGrafx.
I having played them both and of course I played it the proper way with up for jump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I'll tell you something.
More crazy.
I will tell you that I got used to it quite easily. I thought they did a good job converting over to the thing. This comes down to a preference of gamepad or joystick, and if you can get used to it. For me, I can control the TurboGrafx pad's pretty good.
It is really good,
and I will say it provides a couple things that the Amiga pad doesn't because it's built into the TurboGrafx. It's got those turbo buttons. If you flip those turbo buttons up and did your jumping, spinning dive, it changes. It makes it much crazier.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's not do that in the lava.
No.
All right. Oh boy. Oh yeah. Like you can climb those hills much easier too.
But I mean, that's built into the game.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure if you had a turbo, I wouldn't be surprised if I put that in the Amiga version as well. If you had rapid fire, I don't know, there may be something you could do it. But
I nail that every single time on the TurboGrafx. Just that
the control is well. I think part of it also is the fact that this is for this sort of game, it's a better controller than the Xbox controller you were using. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, no, it's a mechanic of the game. Like whatever timing they use to hit the button when you hit that thing. Because when I play it emulated, it's the same way.
Just hit your start button.
Oh yeah. So that is the one thing that I don't like about this version versus the Amiga version. The Amiga version is much better. How you lay there and you
now look at the background here, blank.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying those are the little flourishes that make a difference. I don't think I don't think the Amiga version lost anything graphically, and it gained some things. Now, the things, this is a lot like Adam's Family in that aspect. Not having the super cool backgrounds, does it make a difference? Not really, you know. But I mean, it's still. Look, for example, remember I told you to point out. Look at this in the background.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no background detail here. Again, does it matter?
But
no.
I mean, and here's the thing: could the TurboGrafx 16 have done that? Maybe so.
I don't know. Well, I mean, you got to think the TurboGrafx 16 really is an 8-bit machine. In fact, I mean, it's a custom chip machine, so it runs at every speed. I was reading a lot about it last night. I mean, could it have done it? I mean, after seeing some of the other games, almost certainly it could have. This is an early title too.
Yeah, and the people that did the Bonk on the Amiga, they had years.
Several years. Yeah. I will say that the TurboGrafx. See, I never can get in that hole. That's the one I'm talking about. I don't think you can get in there. Which I think they just taunt you with that. I bet there's some way to do it, and we just don't know what the hell. We just can't. We don't have the skill. You know, but I mean, like I said, the funny thing is consoles have a weird, and you may think I'm an idiot here. I'm just gonna throw this out there. To me, when I play a game on a console versus a computer, there's a feel to it that a computer often has trouble replicating. Exactly, and this has it. There's a feel to Bonk on the console that feels different and snappier. Does that make any sense? See how when you have those things, when you have it turned up all the way, you can't actually see. I can jump real high. Now watch.
Right.
That's the difference.
It's because it's pushing A rapidly and canceling your height.
Right.
But like the glowing lava in the mountains is a cool effect. You're right. It doesn't have all the detail, and the sprite is smaller.
And you're right in terms of. I mean, I will submit to you that the graphical. I mean, that the playing of it, probably there's the advantage to the 16. I mean, just in terms of the way it feels and controls. Without being sure, I mean, depending on what you use. Of course, on the Amiga, you've got your choice of controllers, and maybe you. Oh shoot, I hate those stupid guys. Maybe you might pick one that plays better than what we were playing with here. I played this with my Wicco, one button, and it plays okay. But in terms of this particular game, having the extra button and the gamepad, it works quite well. Of course, it was designed for that.
Now, does the moon actually serve any purpose in this game?
Well, at the end, you go to the moon, so I'm assuming that's why it's there. Which I'm sure you didn't get that. I don't know if I watched the playthrough to know that. I've never got anywhere near the moon, but
it is an odd thing.
It is, and like I said, it just hones in the view, sort of. That was bad timing. You stupid jerk. I like the fact that you can bounce the dead guys up in the air over and over. I don't know why you would do it, but
it's like juggling in Devil May Cry or something like that.
I was watching. Did you ever learn how to swing on the vines? I was watching you the other night on the
No, I
you have to bite them.
Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense now that I think of it. You need the turbo on the B button for that.
It's funny because these games, of course, when they made them for the TurboGrafx, they knew about those turbo buttons.
Right.
And so a lot of games will take advantage of those things, which that makes it tough when you've got like a home port, like an emulation version of this, because I mean you can simulate those with the button press, but it's not quite as. I will say they put them in a right spot here. If you look right here, they can see it.
Oh, I can see it. Okay.
These switches right here are right above your button, so you can flip them real easy. And they will make a difference. I mean, like shooters and stuff. And like I said, some games use them, You punk, come here. But, again, I will submit, this thing plays great. And on both systems, I mean, and the differences on the Amiga, no matter what you think, they're minimal enough to where it doesn't really, if you've got an Amiga, and you want to play a good platformer, you should be playing BC Kid. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's amongst the best ones, wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
and we've said that a few times now, but I mean, this is way up there. I mean, it's just a well-designed. something else I want to give credit for, Factor 5, the fact that we're having this discussion on which one's better shows you the job they did converting this over.
They could have been real lazy with this.
Sure. And of course, Factor 5, they did the Turricans and whatnot. These guys aren't bums. And they did the Star Wars games on the GameCube, or was it the NC4? One of those. They did a lot of big games, and so they know what they're doing. And they did a quality job. Now, granted, they had a couple years to get this thing going, but I mean, we've seen plenty of games come out for the Amiga later than everyone else that they do a half-ass job on, and these guys did a good job. It's an excellent game.
All right, Aaron. Well, you ready to do the show on this thing?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we'll see you on the show. Adios.
Adios.